What we want to talk about today is types of protection dogs. So I get a lot of calls pretty much daily about wanting to buy a protection dog. And the terminology that people use is unclear. So today I want to try to clear up some of the vernacular used when talking about protection dogs. So one of the common terms I get all the time is guard dog. What is a guard dog? When people call me and go, I want to buy a guard dog. Well, typically they mean they want a personal protection dog, but when you reference a guard dog, what comes to my mind and people in the industry's mind is a dog that lives in and protects a perimeter, literally stays in a pen. So you might think of the term junkyard dog, commonly seen in the movie where there's a dog that lives in a junkyard and protects the product from being stole by people climbing over fences. So a guard dog has a purpose. He lives in an area and he guards those things. You could even reference a livestock guardian, a dog that lives with the livestock with that term. But a guard dog and a personal protection dog are not the same. So just understand when you reference guard dog, you're talking about a dog that lives pretty much a solitary life, and his job is to stay in a specific area and guard that area. So that makes a lot of sense. Police dogs and military dogs are different than personal protection dogs as well. A personal protection dog is a dog that lives in a family life. So let's not stereotype here. There are police dogs that live with families. There are military dogs that live with families. But in general, those dogs have a very specific task. Their job is to be reactive, to be hardcore, to be very tough, macho dogs that are really kind of defensive and edgy, and their job is to think everybody's a bad guy, because in their job description, it says everybody's a bad guy until proven otherwise. Where a personal protection dog has to kind of go the other end of the spectrum and assume most people are going to be good guys, because as you're accessing the public, taking the dog with you when you go to the bank, taking the dog with you when you go out to the park, you're going to run across a lot of the public, and the bulk of the public's a good guy. So these dogs have to have long fuses. So a personal protection dog has to have a higher level of obedience than is required for a police dog. And this, once again, we're not picking on police dogs in this video. Police dogs are amazing, military dogs are amazing, sport dogs are amazing, but they all have different roles, different genetic qualities, things that they were bred for. They all have different purposes, and they don't often cross over. A lot of times sport dogs don't cross over into the personal protection world very easily. They were raised with a very narrow focus on their particular sport. They lived in their kennel, they came out onto the field, they did their sport work, and then they went back. The trainers purposely didn't want to confuse this dog with other issues, so they kept the focus of the training very narrow, where a personal protection dog needs to be able to deal with slippery floors, up and down open steps, deal with cats and the public and aggressive dogs you might meet at the park, where a sport dog never has to encounter any of that. And when people import retired sport dogs or a dog that failed out of sport work and try to turn it into a personal protection dog, that's where they often fail. So sport dogs, military dogs, police dogs, guard dogs all have different roles, and those are laudable roles. There's nothing wrong with the jobs that they're outlined to do, but a personal protection dog has to be more. A personal protection dog has to be bred specifically for this task, raised for this task, and trained for this task. Dogs don't automatically come out of the womb ready to do this kind of work. So the level of training that a personal protection dog has to go through is completely separate. So once again, just some general information. We're not picking on anybody, and there's exceptions to every rule. There's police dogs that can go play at the park with the family. There are military dogs that can cross over. There are sport dogs that can cross over. But as a general rule, the training and the focus for those dogs has been completely different. And I just wanted to make people aware of the differences in the type of protection dogs that there are out there. They're not all the same. They weren't bred the same, trained the same, raised the same, socialized the same. They don't have different expectations for what their purpose was. So just some general information. Hope you find it educational and entertaining.